Okay, so we're going to have a quick video on how to do multiplication of positive and negative integers. So before this lesson, we already talked about integers with whole numbers. We're used to doing multiplication with whole numbers. If we've got stuff with decimals, they are approachable, but most of the time we'd do it through a calculator. With these sorts of numbers though, we can see that there's a big mixture of positive and negative stuff. So some of these you're already looking at, okay, I probably know the answer to this, but I don't know what sign I'd need to put on the answer. So first thing that we need to think about is negatives are powerful. They override everything else that's there. So when I'm looking at the first one, I go 3 times 8. I can see there's no negatives at all, so I don't need to worry. It's just a normal problem. And as long as you're practicing your multiplication, which you should, and it's up in the link at the top of the OneNote, we can see that 3 times 8 would be, let's check this to a color we can actually see. 3 times 8 would be 24, because 3 8s are 24. Now, no change. Positive and positive makes a positive answer. I don't need to show the plus that's in the front of it, but technically there's kind of a plus that's at the start. That's important because a lot of the time when we have a negative at the front, people seem to lose their mind. So there is a plus in the front, we just don't usually show it. Now, we come across to the second one and we've got 4 times negative 7. Now, remember, negatives are powerful. So I just would approach this normally. I'd go 4 times 7 would be 28. The negative is so powerful that it cancels out the other positive, and it's the thing that stays at the front. So I've got one negative, it overrides the other positive that's in front of the 4, leaving me with a negative answer. So I can go down to this other one that's at the bottom and think, all right, well, just because the other number or the negative number is at the front, that doesn't really mean that anything has changed. I just approach this exactly the same as normal. I can say 6 times 4 is 24. The negative overrides the positive on the 4 because the negative is powerful. So we put that at the front. Again, this is kind of like saying take 24. But we say negative 24. The take would be powerful and useful when we actually do it in a problem later on. So I want you to think about the take and the negative sort of the same thing. But negative 24 is what we're going to end up with. The reason why that negative being at the front rather than being behind, similar to what you would have seen in 4 times negative 7, remember that everything is commutative, which means they can be flipped around the other way. So negative 7 times positive 4 would be exactly the same answer anyway. So here we come to the difficult one, and that is negative 6 times negative 8. Now, remember, negatives are powerful. The problem is we've got 2 of them. So I'm going to approach this like a normal problem. I'd say 6 times 8. Well, I know that 6 times 8 is 48. The negative overrides the other thing. So usually the negative overrides the positive and I'm left with a negative. But unfortunately, the negative overrides another negative and they cancel each other out. So what actually happens is you end up with a positive 48. But remember, when we've got a positive number, we don't necessarily need to write the plus. So I can get rid of that and just know that 6 times 8 is 48, and negative 6 and negative 8 multiplied together to become 48 as well. Now, if only one of them was a negative, it would cancel out the positive and then we'd have a negative answer. But because you've got 2 of them, they're both so powerful that they cancel each other out.